Hello and welcome to Science Oxford Livestream 2024. My name is Sian.
And my name is Daniel, and we are so excited that you could join us here today to take a look at the science of invisibility.
Yeah, so we are going to be using some of our scientific equipment that we've got here to help us see some of the invisible things and to understand how those invisible things can be useful.
That's right, but it's not just the two of us here. So we've also got our assistant Bex today is helping us set up and clear away some of our experiments. Thank you, Bex. And we've got Roger and Ian working behind the screens, managing the cameras and working with the live chat to make sure that we can bring this to you.
Now, we can see that some of you have already been sending us messages in the comments. And we just want to say welcome to a few schools that have already told us that they are here. So welcome to Harriers Banbury and to St. Christopher's in Cowley. Who else have we got? We've got Windale joining us too, and St. Andrew. So welcome to you and thank you to you for joining from where you are today.
And if we didn't name you just then, welcome to you as well. And please do remember that you can use the live chat to ask any questions, share any comments. Later in the show, we'll ask you some big questions, and please have an adult in the room write your answers into the live chat so that we can bring them up on the screen and share with everybody else, just like we did at the start of the show. So we asked you, if you had the superpower of invisibility, what would be some good things, some bad things, and some interesting things? Let's see what you've come up with. So Molly Baldwin has said you can be really sneaky, so you could move around without anyone knowing where you were.
That sounds like a fun thing.
Yeah, maybe play some pranks on your friends at school or something like that.
4FE has said the thing is that if you want to steal stuff, you could do it easily.
Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Oh, I don't know.
Sounds a little bit naughty.
A little bit naughty.
Yes.
Julie has said, so year 5 says a positive thing would be that you would win in hide and seek.
That's a really
Absolutely,
good.
That is a good thing.
You could hide for as long as you needed to, and I think people would really struggle to find you. Absolutely. Someone has also said from year 5 that you could get hurt if people run into you. Yeah, if no one can see you, I guess you might get bumped into or knocked over.
Yeah, that sounds like a bad thing. What else have we got? You could go into a cave with a bear and they wouldn't see you. Yeah, so it might protect you.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Yeah, protect you. I think that's a good thing.
Absolutely. You could escape kidnappers or anyone who wanted to try and hurt you in any way. You could run away and hide and they wouldn't see you. So you'd be able to escape anyone like that. Fantastic. Amazing. Thank you so much for those really interesting and well thought out answers. And we hope to see some other interesting answers to our big questions later. But these ones have really got me thinking about what it actually means to be invisible. So Sian, how would you explain to someone what it means to be invisible?
So I would say that something is invisible if you can't see it, even if you're looking at it.
Okay, so like the air all around us, for example. I mean, I know it's there, we're breathing it, but when I'm looking, I can't see it. So is the air invisible?
Absolutely. I think that's a really interesting one. So the air is made up of stuff. It's made up of gases. Some of those gases are things like oxygen and carbon dioxide and nitrogen. Let's just try something first. Could you hold out your hand in front of your mouth? And I want you to blow on it. Can you feel the air that you're blowing onto your hand?
Yes, I can feel the air, yeah.
Okay. Can you see it?
Nope, I cannot.
No, so that air is invisible. Now, yeah, it does contain some of these gases, and those gases are invisible. That's because those gases are made up of tiny little particles that are so small and so spread apart that actually we can't see them.
And I know that in the air around us, a really important gas, oxygen, is the one that we need to breathe. But isn't oxygen also used to make fire? So can it be dangerous too?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got some mini little fires I've started here. These are some little candles. They're all lit. And the reason why they are all lit and they have fire on top of them is because they are using oxygen in the air around them. Now, oxygen is one of the 3 things that we know we need for the fire triangle. So we've got oxygen, we've got heat, and we've got fuel. They are the 3 things that are required for a fire to happen. Now, in these little candles here, like I said, oxygen is all around them, and so they are able to burn. What I'd quite like to have a go at to see if we can use a gas, an invisible gas, to maybe put these candles out. So we've got here on the table some vinegar in the bottle, and Daniel, I've put some bicarbonate soda in your balloon, and I've got some bicarbonate soda here too. So if we both add bicarbonate soda to our vinegar, let's see what we make. So you might want to think just for a moment to see what you think might happen. Are we ready?
Okay.
Go.
I tip the bicarbonate of soda into my vinegar, and I can see that it is forming lots of bubbles. It is fizzing up inside there.
So if it's fizzing or bubbling, that means a gas is being produced.
And in fact, because I've got the balloon on top of mine, you can see that it is starting to inflate with that gas. Which gas is being created here?
So this gas in here being created is called carbon dioxide, or it's also known as CO2.
Amazing. And I guess because we had the same amount of vinegar and bicarbonate of soda in our bottles, my balloon is full of CO2, so your bottle must also be full of CO2.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're going to see what the effect of CO2 has on these candles. So I'm just going to swirl this a moment. You might want to start thinking about what's going to happen when I pour this gas that we've just made, this carbon dioxide, onto the candles. Ah, there we go. So the carbon dioxide that's inside the bottle has managed to put out or extinguish the fires and the flame on top of the candle. Now, there's some really important things to remember about CO2 when we are thinking about our fire triangle. The first thing to remember about CO2 is that it is not oxygen. Okay, remember, oxygen is needed for a fire to happen. And in this case, when we use carbon dioxide, that first thing is really important, that it is not oxygen. The second thing to remember about carbon dioxide is that it is heavier than oxygen. So what happened when I poured the carbon dioxide from my bottle that we made onto the fire, it pushed the oxygen out of the way and managed to put out the fire. So carbon dioxide is one of those gases that we would find in some fire extinguishers.
Brilliant. So this is like a mini fire extinguisher now because it's filled with CO2. So if I needed to, I could release this onto a fire and maybe put it out.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. CO2 is an invisible gas, but there are some other invisible gases too. And sometimes there's no way of sensing an invisible gas. So in your homes maybe, or in school, in some buildings, there will be a gas called natural gas that is used for heating, to get hot water, and it's used in cooking. It's burnt as a fuel for fire to heat things. But because it is invisible and because we can't smell it, if it was released into the air around us, we wouldn't necessarily know. And if you breathe in too much of it, it can be harmful and it can pose a fire risk as well. So to make sure we can sense it, we sometimes have sensors, but we also add a smell to that natural gas so that we can smell it if there's any in the room around us, to keep us all safe.
Absolutely.
So some invisible gases could be dangerous, but we do what we can to keep them safe.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Now, that's got me thinking. We've talked about invisible gases like oxygen, CO2, natural gas. But what other invisible things can you think of? We're going to give you a couple of minutes to think about this and talk with the people around you about the answer to that question. Please, adults, put the answers in the chat so we can share them later. And we'll come back after this short break to discuss what other invisible things you can think of.
Welcome back. We hope you had some really interesting conversations in the space that you're in. And we did ask you that question, what invisible things can you think of? And we've seen loads of comments coming in. So do carry on sending in those comments and we'll show them up on the screen. Thank you, Oxfordshire Hospital School. You sent through sound waves. That's really interesting. So I think I agree. The words that are coming out of my mouth or the sounds that are coming out of my mouth, you can't see.
No,
but you can definitely detect them with your ears.
Yes, we can hear things. Joanne Vaughan has shared germs. So yeah, again, we talked earlier about how if things are super small, we can't see them, but we know that germs are there. So even though they're tiny, they are invisible to our eyes.
Yeah, brilliant. Fantastic. And Mr. Hoggett's, I assume that's Mr. Hoggett's class, has said chameleon and camouflage. Fantastic. Now we might come on to talk about that a little bit later.
Interesting ideas for sure. The warmth of the sun, that's a really cool one. So yeah, temperatures, we can't see temperatures, but we can feel them. And we might look at that a little bit later too.
Yeah, fascinating, fascinating. Oh, we got another one, steam. Interesting. Is that invisible?
So if I'm boiling a kettle, that's when I think of steam. Maybe I can see some steam coming out, but maybe it turns into water vapor, and that would be invisible in a gaseous form in the air.
Absolutely.
And loads of ones here from Gagglebrook as well. So we've got smells, noise, Harry Potter's cloak, and window panes. Lots of really interesting things to consider there. And I know that we're going to have some other ones coming up that we've talked about, including emotions here from Oxfordshire Hospital School again as well. So yeah, we can feel emotions even if we can't see them. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Now, just going back to our definition of what it means to be invisible, Sian, what did you say it was again?
So I said that something is invisible if you are looking at it and you still can't see it. So, for example, if I'm looking at these at the back here, our little colourful tubes, I can see those, right? They're not invisible. But Daniel, why can I see those?
So we would say they are visible because of light. So light helps us to see, and I am going to try and help you to see what I mean with a demonstration. So we're going to turn, I've got some lasers here. Let's have a look at these close up first of all. I've got some lasers, which if I turn on, hopefully you can see there, that's got a little green dot. And this one here has got a little red dot, but we can't see the beam of the laser. Now we're going to turn off the main lights in the room to help this be a little bit more visible. Because what we're going to do, I'll turn my laser back on again. So you can probably see the red dot, and Sian's got the laser with the green dot there for me, but we still can't see the beams, even though it's dark. Now, what I'm going to do is try to reveal these invisible beams to you now by sprinkling a little bit of powder into their path. So hopefully you can see there the beams of light. And I would say that they look really straight. And that is because light travels in straight lines.
Do you know, I can see the line from the laser pointer all the way through the dot, and it does look like a very straight line.
Yeah, exactly. Now, just like you could see those colorful pots at the back, the reason you can now see the laser is because there is something in the way of the light. So the light is shining in a straight line. It's going to hit something like a little bit of powder, and it's going to reflect off that powder. It's going to bounce off towards your eyes or towards the camera here. And reflection is how we see anything. When light reflects off surfaces, it travels in straight lines to our eyes, and that's how we can see things. So I've managed to make these seemingly invisible lines visible by revealing them to you. There we go. Let's get the lights back up again for a second. Then we're going to turn those off. Oh, dear me. But I wonder if we could think about how light works and see if we could make something invisible by blocking that light. So if the light travels in straight lines, reflects off surfaces into our eyes, if we blocked the light from traveling to our eyes, would that make something invisible?
That's really interesting.
An interesting question.
Interesting. Now, we have made a bit of a mess here, so what we're going to do is tidy this up and come back to you in a moment, but we have got a question for you that's going to come up on your screen. We've got 4 images, and what we would like you to do in each of those images, we would like you to work out what the invisible thing is that we can, or maybe can't see, and then why invisibility might be useful for that thing. Okay, so a couple of minutes and we'll come back to you.
And welcome back. Thank you very much. We hope you had some good discussions with your people around you there about that question of what are the invisible things in these images and how does being invisible help them? So let's see what answers you have come up with. Let's have a look at number 1. So someone at Oxfordshire Hospital School has said they think it could be a moth or a butterfly.
Oh, yeah, we've also got some other people saying moth.
I'm not sure I can see that. To me, it just looks like a piece of wood or something, like brown mud or something.
Yeah, it is a moth. There we are, it is a moth. Let's see if we can see where that moth is on that picture. Oh, there it is. Look, I can just about see the outline of the wings.
Yeah, you're right. Now it's highlighted. I can just sort of see that it's got a very similar pattern to the wood it's on, but it is slightly different, isn't it? Okay, good spot. Well done on that one.
Let's have a look at picture number 2 and see what you were saying. So Monkston Primary, thank you very much. You said octopus. Now, I just see a lot of rocks.
Yeah, I think there's I can see like a line of white things down one of the rocks. I don't know what that is, but it might be something part of an octopus.
Should we see if it is an octopus? It is an octopus. Yes, we do see lots of those patterns, like you said. I wonder where the octopus is.
So there we go. Yeah, I think that white line are the suckers down the tentacle that's helping it to stick to the rocks, to help it blend in and hide itself. Maybe.
It does look very well hidden, doesn't it? Let's have a look at number 3.
And someone from Gagglebrook is straight in there with their guess of an owl. And I must admit, I think I thought that it was an owl as well. It confused me because its eyes are closed. And normally I think of an owl with big, bright eyes, but I can't see them here when they're closed. But it is an owl. We've got that right. So well done there. And let's just show us where it is nice and clearly as well. Mr. Veer's class have also said owl. Fantastic. Yes, there it is. It's hiding in that sort of that nook in that tree. Yes. And again, it's the same kind of color and pattern as the thing around it. It just makes it almost invisible, makes it so hard to see.
It does just make it look like a tree. It's really well hidden. Okay, let's have a look at number 4. Oh, okay.
No,
number 4. Miss Hoggart's class have said maybe it's a person. Yeah, I can see that. I can see.
A person? Where?
Well, so I think that big black circle in the middle isn't actually the person. I think that might be something else. I can kind of see the outline of a head and shoulders.
I thought it was just a rock or some bush or something. Let's have a look. A lot of people are saying human or person, so let's see if we're right on that. Mrs. Kirkham's class have said human as well, and Monkston Primary have said man holding a camera, and the answer, as we can see there, is a photographer. So well done there. Let's have a look nice and close. Let's highlight that for us. You're right. That was someone's head and the shoulders there. And you said that black circle was?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it is. Maybe it's the lens of the camera.
Ah, fantastic. So maybe they're out there trying to take some photographs of wildlife for a documentary or something.
Yeah, I do wonder why some of these animals and humans have decided to become invisible. Why might it help them? E4FE have said that the camouflage is great for
predating and preventing being prey. Brilliant.
Wow, that's really, fantastic answer. Thank you very much.
And Wesley Class at Tyndale have said something similar, to protect themselves from predators. So if a predator is trying to hunt and eat a creature and they are very well hidden, maybe they will survive and not get caught. And 5K, very similar kind of things. Well done. You're all absolutely right. These are great answers, and thank you so much. I've actually got here in front of me a creature that is very well camouflaged. Now, it might look like I'm just holding some leaves here, but if I put it in the close-up camera, let's have a look at this. So you can see here that this little leaf insect is doing a little wiggle like a leaf blowing in the wind to try and camouflage itself with the leaves that it's having a nice little munch on, so that if there were any predators like a bird flying past, it would seem to blend in with its surroundings and it wouldn't get seen and eaten. I think that's really clever. There we go. So yes, that camouflage is an incredible adaptation that some animals have got. Let's put you back in that tank there safely. Get rid of this.
Wonderful. Now, animals are fantastic, often fantastic at camouflage, but humans, less so.
Yeah, humans do not have the ability to camouflage in the same way. We can't change our colors like a chameleon or blend into rocks and things unless we create some tools to help us do that. But something we can do using our knowledge of science and light is create optical illusions.
Absolutely, and I've got some equipment here that's going to help me do this. So I've got a funnel, And this funnel is made out of glass, which is a transparent material, which means that light can travel through it, which means that we can see it. Now, the light hits the glass and changes direction ever so slightly and slows down ever so slightly, which means that we are physically being able to see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this glass funnel inside this pot of oil, and I want you to watch closely to see what happens.
Wow, it's disappeared. As you've put it in, it seemed to just vanish from sight. It's become invisible. How did you do that?
So let me explain. Because this funnel is glass, and because the oil itself, when the light travels through that, it changes down the same amount of speed as the glass does. So it becomes or appears invisible. Now I'm going to show you one more time so you can see it happening nice and slowly. Now there is a little hole at the top of my funnel just here. So I'm going to put my thumb over that, and that's going to stop the air from escaping that's inside my funnel. I'm going to push it down. Now we can see, we can still see the funnel at the moment. You saw a little bit of air leaking out the side of the funnel just then. Now when I take my thumb off here, the air is going to escape out of the top of the funnel, and the oil is going to go up into the center of the funnel. So let's see what happens.
Wow. It's like it's just vanishing right in front of our eyes, but you're saying that's the oil filling up and pushing the air out?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So that is all because of the change in speed of the light as it enters the oil and hits the glass, and then comes back out into our eyes.
That's amazing. So we can use science and knowledge of light and things like that to make something that is visible invisible.
Absolutely.
But I wonder if we could possibly make something invisible visible. So we've actually got a piece of equipment here in the Science Oxford Centre called an infrared camera, and this will pick up infrared light. Now, infrared light is a type of light that we can't see with our eyes, but we can detect it in other ways. We can feel it as heat. So this infrared camera will detect the different temperatures, and it will present it, visualize for us what that image would look like with different temperatures. So let's see what the infrared camera can see now compared to our regular camera. So if we give you a little wave, you can maybe see us side by side as well. There we go. So yes, quite a different image. Why do you think we look all those different colors there then, Sean?
It is very different. My nose looks very green right now. I'm not sure what's going on. So you said that the camera shows those temperatures.
Exactly.
Yeah? So I wonder if, let's see if I can work out the temperatures. So my cheeks feel nice and warm. And so maybe that kind of red, and your cheeks
I'm feeling very warm actually, yes.
And so maybe the red and the white end are quite warm or quite hot. And actually my hands, if you look at my hands, my fingers are cold.
Yeah, my fingers are blue.
Day to day.
Yeah.
I wonder if the blue colours mean that it's the colder temperatures.
I think that's really cool. So this infrared camera, like we said, can make something that is normally invisible to us visible. So I think it would be probably quite hard to try and hide from this kind of camera.
Well, so I think I have an idea. I think I can make myself invisible. I have a thin sheet of plastic here, but this plastic is opaque. Opaque meaning that light can't travel through it. Okay, so we can't see through it. If I hold up this opaque piece of plastic in front of the infrared camera, I think I will become invisible. Let's
find out. Let's see what we can see. So I can see on the normal camera, yeah, we can't see your face through that opaque plastic sheet, but on the infrared camera, I can still make out your face. Oh. It can see through it. So whatever infrared light is being detected by the camera can travel through this plastic sheet, even though visible light cannot.
So I'm not invisible.
So you're not invisible to the infrared camera just because you're hiding behind a thin plastic sheet like that. I've got another material though. Let's have a look at this one. So I've got here a sheet of glass, and I can see through this glass because it is transparent, which means that it lets light through it. So you can see me there if I give you a little wave. But what do you think will happen for the infrared camera through the glass?
Now, I think because it is transparent, so light can travel through it, I wonder if the infrared camera will also be able to see through it. It will also be able to detect the infrared heat.
Let's take a look and we'll find out. So if I just crouch down here and give you a little wave behind my glass, can you see me on the infrared camera? I can almost entirely disappear. I'm hiding behind it there. Look. Yes. So even though you can see me through it here with visible light that our eyes can pick up, the infrared camera cannot detect infrared light passing through it. So this is opaque to infrared light, but transparent to visible light. I think that's really interesting that different materials can interact with different types of light in different ways. I'm going to get rid of this so I don't drop it.
All right, we are reaching almost the end of our show this afternoon. I just want to recap a few of the things that we've heard about today. So we have talked about what would happen if you had the power of invisibility. What are some of those good things or bad things, or maybe even some of those interesting things that we've talked about. We've also talked about some examples of invisible things, so like gases and sound and emotions. Those are some of those really interesting topics and ideas that you guys have come up with. We've talked as well about how some animals are able to use adaptations that they have that have evolved over millions of years and millions of generations. Now, Daniel, you look a bit funny. Are you feeling okay?
I feel okay. We did also say that other animals are able to camouflage, but humans can't, right?
We did say that.
Yeah, I just thought I'd test that theory a little bit. So I'm just going to walk over here. How do I look?
Well, you seem to have lost your head.
What?
Your arms.
I don't know what you mean. So how do you think I've managed to do this then?
I don't know. Maybe... I don't know.
Well, we can leave that as a mystery for you to think about as well. But just before we come to the end of the show, I'd like to say thank you all so much for joining us. And also, thank you to Bex for helping us set up this experiment. And thank you to Ian and Roger for running all of the technology. Thank you to Sean. And for the whole Science Oxford Centre team, thank you again to you for joining us for this live stream. We do have one big question to leave you with, though, which is, what if all materials were transparent? So have a think about this. You can talk about it in your class, and please do still share your answers in the live chat for us to have a look at later. And I think from now, we're going to say thank you very much and goodbye, and we'll see you again for another live stream. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.